Hello everybody and welcome to RPM Esports F1, the epitome of online league racing. Oh, it doesn't get boring saying that. Your week of RPM action starts right here. For those who may be saying that there are some, there's a familiar sounding voice tonight. Well, the first time was so nice, I just had to do it twice. It's me again, RPM Entity, keeping you updated with the midway race of the season. It's round 8. We're here in Imola. As you see, drivers heading out of the pits all ready for their out lap. 18 drivers, already reduced to 17 as Big Puggy has retired early on. And first on their lap is Matty, so we will use Matty to talk us through the circuit as we go through Tamburello to begin with the first couple of corners there. Now into the Villeneuve chicane. Got to be careful on exits, got to be running into the gravel. Round the long turn Tozer and up the hill where you can really put the throttle on. We've got shout outs from Kieran wishing luck to the McLaren in Organic and Jones as we turn through Piratella into Aqua Minerali, one of the more difficult sections of track on the F1 calendar. Power again up the hill into Alta. Early on, just trying to get a time on board. You don't want to be taking too much curb, potentially spinning yourself out or hitting a barrier. I'm sure we'll be seeing drivers taking a lot more curb throughout the session, and around the double 90-degree lefts. Or going across the line. It's interesting, we have the double lefts being the Ravazza turns. Twin sisters of the other Italian circuit, Monza, with the two Lesmos, the right-handers in Sector 2. As you see, Riker and Jones setting times. We'll just see if Mocky standing in on the Aston Martins, going straight into the pits. They did track limits on their first lap. As we see Spivey coming round the final couple of corners. Onto the straight. DRS open, tries to keep a narrow line into 1:19.7. Not where they would like to be so far, but it's a time on the board, and that's always crucial in the early on stages of qualifying. We'll just have a little look. I think Callum still is on a lap, but might be having some traffic ahead here. As we see the Aston pulling aside to let Callum through. Whilst we see Callum going into the final sector, we will just remind everyone on the current driver standings. We have got Riker, who's currently second overall. This first round of the qualifying laps is our championship leader. The gap did go down, however, to just 12 points due to Nat picking up victory in Abu Dhabi last week. Dino and Smith, the battle continues with the two of them. Dino currently in third in the championship, Smith in fourth. And Matty right on the back of that pack too with Rodo. So it's all to play for when it comes to the championship standings itself. And I'm sure it'll be chopping and changing throughout the race today. So Callum getting a 1:17.9 across the line there. So another time on the board for them. As you see the majority of drivers heading out into the pits, but we see Nat starting to do the opposite. Hasn't done a lap just yet. As we have Jonesy Pinkham for the top step, says James. That'll be definitely one that we'll be looking out for today. Jones did get his 4th position last race. Sometimes he was out there in a battle with his own thoughts, but it was skilled driving, sticking out of trouble and scoring some very, very solid points last week out. Oh, a bit of grass there by SMIT as we come into the final couple of corners, the Ravatsas. And they are bailing out of that lap by the looks of things. So we're right on board with Nats then, who's going to be chasing down the championship lead. Might be our new championship leader come the end of today. But I'm sure Riker's got something to say about that. Currently sitting in 3rd after a very promising first lap on the board, and they're already heading out onto the circuit to have another go at it. Matthew Jones taking time to thank Mr. Spritzy. Mr. Spritzy, the founder of RPM, passing the torch to Mr. Backer at the start of this season. Mr. Backer, of which is Mr. Jones, is a right-hand man for the race. Who better to be your race engineer than the league owner themselves? Some have many names for them. I call him a wondermonger, as tells us all the stories of many wonders, and many are wondering exactly what the plans are for next season. Now we're in the halfway stage. So obviously we are waiting for a bit more information to come out for the new F1 game before we finalise exactly what Season 7 has in store for us. So we have yellow flags in Sector 1. I believe that's just drivers moving out of the way. As we watch with Dino. Hello, Mr. Inorganic. Watching along, wishing luck to Callum and Dino. Dino, who we are on board with right now in the Alfa Romeo. And Dino having a real battle in the championship standings on in the back of their mind as well. I often find if you've got too much going on in the standings, it can sometimes distract you from your racing. You can easily lose focus in a corner, just because you're too busy looking at the running order on the left-hand side of your screen, looking for your rivals in the championship order. And all that could take is just one lapse of concentration, and you can miss a corner, miss your braking point, run into another car. That's all it takes. So Dino doing their best to remain focused, and focused they are as they move up to 2nd, but straight away knocked down as we've got Rodo now onto the front row of the grid. Matty still with the 1:16.6 as the fastest time on the board at the moment. And I wonder if Riker, who's just started their lap, is going to have something to say about that. See, it looks like we've got the Aston Martins on the track, potentially giving a tow to one another. Quite a small circuit is Imola. So it's quite a difficult one to give way to some other drivers around you. You've got to really find your moments to let someone by. Like he's using a lot of curb and exit on Aqua Minerali, a lovely smooth line through there. Now how will they take the chicane? How will they take Alta? A little bit of curb, and might want to take a little bit more curb to begin with, but a nice smooth exit nonetheless. Onto the power as we head down to the two Ravatsas. Braking just before the 50-metre board, just off the apex, but uses the curb and exit. Kisses the apex lovely on the final corner, onto the power, down the main straight. Opens DRS, a nice tight line. And it's quicker. It's up 2 seconds. They are really challenging Matty's time there, but Matty's still holding the lead. Riker up to the front row. Let's see what Jones has. I saw Jones getting some tips off of the current Premier leader and reigning champion, I must add, RPM Colin was doing some teaching. I'm not sure he taught him how to take Aqua Minerali like that though. But on the power nonetheless is Jones, halfway through the lap and nearly half a second up on their time. And I don't believe they got track minutes there, but that was a more than healthy amount of curb on the inside there. A lot tighter to the apex is Jones on the first of the two left-handers. Into the final one, opens out for the straight as SMIT goes fastest on the circuit, but Jones up to fourth there. So SMIT is now currently the fastest man on the track in the Mercedes, only by 6 thousandths of a second to Matty. Riker in third, Jones in fourth at the moment. A lot of drivers heading back to the pits as they all gear themselves up for their third and final run on our time. So we'll just ride with Callum here in the Red Bull, coming into the final couple of corners. And RPM Colin wishing luck to Jones, as we mentioned earlier, giving a bit of advice to the Aston Martin man. And Callum pushes himself up into the top 10. So nice position for Callum. Obviously we've still got one, we still expect one more round of hot laps out there, if not two maybe for some, as Danos taking a bit of an alternate line through the last couple of corners there. Into the power starting line, perhaps opening up the corner as much as they can to utilise that straight line speed. I just catch Snell Henk on the end of their lap, I believe, although it's not looking to be the end of their lap. I think they've had a moment there as they're 5 minutes into a lap according to the graphic here, but they are going to be starting a lap nonetheless. Tell that by the full tank of ERS in the bottom left of your picture. RPM Colin asking, is it true I receive commission from the safety car drivers? Well, I heard when they're not racing on the track that they are also watching along at home, and they do love my commentary. So maybe they do pay for us. Maybe they do. So we'll catch up with Snell Henk. Snell Henk started off very, very brightly in Abu Dhabi. Didn't have the best qualifying, but I believe they were up 6 positions on the opening lap at the start there. Really found the right place to be on the track. We'll see how they can qualify here today at Imola. And it's a very good middle sector from the McLaren man. Onto the power, tight line, and puts them into the top 10, pushes Callum down 2/10, but that's Snell Henk of 117.1. I think Danos and Inorganic we've currently got on the circuit. Let's just see what the other Alfa Romeo Inorganic can do. Inorganic who threw themselves on comms last week, it was good to hear on the Thursday. You also saw Inorganic caught up in the incident on the Wednesday night, so hopefully not looking to repeat anything the same today. It looks like I might be pulling out of this lap here and heading into the pits presumably. Yet they are. So we'll flick back to Rodo, who we haven't focused on too much yet today, the Alpine. So Rodo currently 6th in the championship, 9 points of a lead to Danos behind. Looking up the table, only 7 points behind Matty and 14 points behind SMIT in that very tight all-constructors battle that we have for the championship here in First Division. A healthy amount of curve through the Alta chicane as we go down the hill in Sector 3. Large amount of curb and a large amount of gravel as well, and I think that's going to be Rodo pulling into the pits there here. Going to be cutting it very fine. They're going to be able to go around and do another lap. Kieran predicting some black magic on the circuit there. They expect some dodgy driving as a way to promote Jones up the pecking order today. Jones, who is just starting their lap, I believe. Mr. Backer watching along. Good evening, the chief in command himself. In case I say anything wrong, whatever I said, whatever I did, I didn't mean it. So let's flick back to second in the championship, Nat Packers in the Williams. Has had quite a few victories since joining First Division in RPM. Has had one race that told me specifically not to mention anymore, but all I will say is all the previous races are available on YouTube online at RPM Esports. So once you've finished watching this live along with us today, feel free to have a little watch back of some of the previous action, which does involve a very interesting and eventful race in Monza. But Nat Packers hunting down the championship lead. It's within their grasp potentially today. As you see some drivers crossing the line, taking their final time. So that's Danos won't be improving higher than 4th. Rodo 6th, Snell Henk 8th at the moment. Jones also into the pits, so they won't be improving on their time. We have got Nat out on the track. Let's just have a little look and see who we've got coming across the line. So Aijva makes their way across, doesn't improve on their time. We've got an Alfa Romeo going across. I believe that's inorganic, still with a 120.4 to the rear with it all to do with. Follow F1 Dino across the line though. And it's an improvement of them. It gets them ahead of Rodo. Now that could be crucial for the battle for third in there. And Jones saying that he messed up on his lap. We'll watch Leaky pull off into the pits there. So we'll flick back to Nats Packers as they run to the line. And it's not enough for fastest because SMIT got there ahead. And what a time from SMIT. Pulling a further 6/10 out of the bag with SMIT with 1:16.0. Puts them to first on the grid. Nats Packers can only muster up a 1:16.3. So they're on the front row, but not where they would like to be. We've got Matt just behind. Riker's just about to flick to, but it looks like they've done track limits. So Riker, our championship leader, will be starting directly behind who is essentially their main threat right now. And there we are. I believe all the drivers have gone across. We lost Big Puggy early on. We lost Goey at the end of there as well. We've got 19 drivers tonight. But there we have our racing grids. RPM back. Is AlphaTauri serving a team penalty after their antics last week over in Abu Dhabi? It wouldn't surprise me. It was a bit of a horror show, unfortunately, for the AlphaTauris. Hopefully they can pick it up here at the midway point of the season tonight. So, as we said, a run through our qualifying order. We have got SMIT pulling out a wonder lap at the front there in the Mercedes. Second, we have Nats Packers. Third is Matty. Fourth, we have Riker, our current championship leader. Danos is in 5th. Jones in 6th. Still in a good, suitable, sensible starting position is Jones. 7th, we have Dino. 8th is Rodo. 9th, Snell Henk. Jay Leakey is in 10th, Callum in 11th, Mocky is in 12th, the Mighty Frax 13th, Reuse Bitja, sorry I mispronounced that, it's going to be Reuse from now on, is in 14th, Spivey 15th, Isla 16th, Inorganic is in 17th, Goey was 18th, and Big Puggy, who lost early on there, starting the race in 19th. So I'm just seeing a few comments coming in, people saying that they messed up on their laps. As we mentioned earlier, it is a very narrow and tight circuit here. The curbs are not your friends at Imola, and it's very easy to do track limits. That seems to be the case for Matt Jones in the Aston Martin. That was 2 tenths up on their time, but they did invalidate, and I think that was the case as we were flicking through the order. There's a lot of red mini-maps, which all indicates a track limit violation at some point along their lap. One thing I will apologise for today is if I do have a dreadful voice. That's part and parcel of being a Brighton fan, I guess, and making a Sunday evening trip up to Wembley. But we won't be talking about football. It's a dreadful sport, and I hate it. It's all about racing. It's all about First Division. It's all about RPM, and there is so much to play for today. One thing that's already been played for today is qualifying, and is that fastest lap point that the qualifier gets, and that went to SMIT. So they go up to 154 points in the championship, but it's all going to be to play for. And look at that, some lovely blue sky in the background. So I believe we're in for a clear race when it comes to the weather. No sign of any rain on any weather charts. Let's have a look at the tyres then. Wow. 0 points for originality on that grid, unfortunately, as we have the top 14 all on the mediums, and the final 5 drivers there on the hards. Medium tyres being the softer compound, so therefore the faster tyre. As we've already got Riker taking an adventurous line. I guess they see the friction of the gravel can heat up the tyres a little bit quicker than maybe the fresh tarmac. So as the drivers make their way, it's quite a fast outlet by the looks of things by SMIT, making sure they do get enough temperature into their tyres. As I say, it is quite a small circuit, so quite difficult to get the temperature up here, but they seem to be doing a good job and making sure that the pack doesn't distance themselves too much, as can often be the case if you do put the foot down at the front of the leading pack. The drivers at the back can take advantage and try and form some gaps, which it does look like the AlphaTauris might be doing as they're still going through Alta. And I guess that's a tactic that I like to use as well. Back up as much as you can and have a go at a couple of corners full speed so you can get the temperature into the tyres, which I think Goey and Big Puggy have done as they've caught the rest of the forming pack. So our championship leader, Riker, with it all to do here, currently starting in 4th, directly behind Nats Packers. Jay Leakey gets disqualified, as does Mocky, finding their starting positions, as does Goey as well. Let's see if we can get a good view for the lights here, as the drivers get ready to unleash the adrenaline. And away we go! Lights out, round 8. And we've already got Nats has gone through for the lead. It's a shame we can't get a good enough picture for this. We might just have to ride on board. So Nats has got up the inside by the looks of things of the small kink going into turn 1 and has got to the head of the pack. We have got yellow flags behind. And Riker's followed straight through, so a disastrous start off the line there by both Matty and SMIT, but we'll have a little look at the driver changes as we complete the first lap. Doesn't look like we've lost anybody so far, but we have had moments for Dino and Callum back there. A good start from Spivey by the looks of things as well. Big Puggy battling it through past Reuse as we see the McLarens both dropping positions to some of the hard runners. And it looks like Nats and Riker have really pulled away at the start here. That 1.2 second gap for Nats with Riker behind. But Matty is still keeping touch. So as the drivers head across the line for the first time and have a look at those position changes. So it really is a horrible start for SMIT, unfortunately for them. They must have bogged down on the start or had a slow reaction of some sort, but they fell down 4 positions. And you notice starting on the other side of the grid, we have Nats and Riker both making up positions there. So our championship battle is really going to heat up here. We have got Callum in the pits currently. Also up some positions is Mocky and the Mighty Frags. The Mighty Frags chasing down there. We've got an incident by the looks of things as well. We have yellow flags, but I think it's all been cleared at the Villeneuve chicane. Big Puggy making up big positions, up 7. It's Big Puggy from the start, and Dino losing out 8 positions. Likewise, Callum, who is currently in the pits. And we do also see a penalty for Reuse as well. It's a 10-second time penalty. I wonder if they were caught up in a collision. Well, they must have been, to pick up a penalty of that value. But we will flick back to the racing further up the pack as we've got SMIT looking to make up the ground, hunting down the Ferrari of Danos as Mocky gets past Rodo. And then a dive into the Ravatsas. Rodo taking a little bit of a wide line. I wonder if that's going to open the door for the Mighty Frags. It does open the door for the Mighty Frags, and Rodo is into the pits. So Riker getting the fastest lap. DRS now enabled. As SMIT makes the move on Danos. Danos looking to fight this, looking to stick around the outside. It's shown the door by SMIT. Some good positional driving by the 2 of them. But we will keep an eye on this battle, the battle for the lead. There's going to be battles all over the place here, but this one's very crucial to the championship. I'd say look at that ERS usage already. 3 laps in, and Riker's lights already going to be flashing at the back. And we compare that to Nats, still got 80%. She can defend from Riker at the moment. She's got plenty of ERS to do so. But Matty, this is going to be music to Matty's ears if he's listening along. You can already see that flashing light from Riker ahead. If he can stay within that 1 second window, you can fancy the Haas driver having a go at the championship leader. As we make our way through into the Ravatsas. They're quite far back here, Matty, but some good corners. A good exit though by Riker. It'd have to be a mystical move to make it done from here. Mystical moves is setting the fastest lap though, so they are only going to be getting closer. But they're not close enough by the looks of things to make a move into turn 1 this time around. Making moves though is Jay Leakey, making a move around the inside of the Mighty Frags into turn 1. We'll just see if Dino is going to make a move or if Eisner is going to make a move on Spivey. 2 drivers there right on the back of that Mercedes gearbox. See, interesting lines there taken by Eisner, a bit deep into the Villeneuve chicane. And as we saw, they go deep the last time, they go deep again. And that opens a door for Dino to go up the inside, side by side. Keeping the inside line is Dino. And unfortunately, the camera angles do not help us at all. But Dino does get ahead going into Aqua Minerale there. Some great driving by the 2 of them, side by side, through the majority of the start of Sector 2. And we'll just quickly flick back to the race at the front of the pack. Again, that light still flashing for Riker, but Matty just doesn't seem to have the pace. He's using ERS, but still not able to get close enough. That is as close as he wants to be, but he just needs to be able to get there. through the course of Sector 3 to have that run using DRS on the start-finish straight. Flick back through the order as Snell Henk putting the pressure on the Mighty Frags. Thinks about moving the inside, decides against it. Playing a long game. But another moment there by the Mighty Frags. Might see Snell Henk have a go around the outside. And that they do. A lovely overtake by Snell Henk. Promotes them back to 9th position. Hydra still on the gearbox. In fact, they got past Spivey, so I think they're now back behind them. Or Dino's now got ahead. No, Dino's now got ahead of Spivey. So Hydra now looking to do the same on the hard tyres as the medium runners further up the track. We've still got a lot of battling going on. It looks like there's going to be a big battle going on for second. That still hasn't completely dropped Riker, but SMIT setting the fastest lap is thinking about having a go at Matty. Matty moves across to defend the outside. SMIT's going like the inside. Oh, not much room, but both drivers avoid contact, and Matty's now right on the back of Riker again. We see this happening quite often, that Matty's having a fantastic drive out of the first couple of corners. He's able to stick right to the gearbox of Riker, but they can't seem to get the same drive when it comes to exiting Sector 3 and overall top speed down the start-finish race. Obviously all drivers utilising their own setups. Some drivers going for a higher wing setup, some going for the lower wings, the lower aerodynamics on the car. Faster straight line speeds, but slower you will be around the corners, and maybe that is what Riker's game is today. And maybe that might also be what SMIT is playing up to, as SMIT's being dropped ever so slightly here by Matty. But Matty's having a phenomenal lap by the looks of things, as they are sticking right with Riker this time, so I reckon they might have a go, they might have a chance. Riker's lights still flashing. And this is definitely the closest that Matty has been in the house, chasing down this Red Bull. DRS wide open, but you're looking at that time and looking at the gap's still not going down enough. So I wonder, has Matty got the straight line speed? I don't know if they do to get past that Red Bull, but maybe they do have a longer tyre life, as the aerodynamics will definitely help those medium tyres last a little bit longer than what Riker might be able to do. That being said, Riker is known for a gamble, and a gamble is what Inorganic just done there, making a move on Goey, and they make it stick for 15th position. At Riker, I believe, one time, in fact it might have even been at this track, played a very long game. Oh, there's contact! We saw that one on the straight out. Eisver again gets a good drive out of Villeneuve chicane, but unfortunately that good drive was right into the back of Spivey, who's they're turning around all over the place. They're taking out polystyrene. So the McLaren reuse as they make their way through. I wonder if Spivey was in the way as they were spun in the middle of the circuit there, but all seems to be cleared out. No safety car. As Dino and the Mighty Frax, that's an interesting place to look for an overtake, but Dino's got ahead. Whether it was the cleanest overtake or not, I'm not too sure, but Mighty Frax does get back ahead, so I wonder they were returning position or whether that was a fantastic overtake. Not there to discredit, as Matty's got past Riker. We had to be the one time we weren't watching that. It looks like Riker might have been snoozing at turn 1, and Matty's got through, but Riker might be in some difficulties here because he's straight under pressure from SMIT. We reckon they might be running similar setups, and SMIT did qualify the better of the two, so hoping to make up for that poor start to the qualifying is SMIT. Poor start to the race even is SMIT, who did qualify on pole, dropped down to 5th, now back up to 4th, but chasing down our championship leader. And another week, another quiet race so far for RPM Jones, as they've got a 5-second gap ahead, so they've been dropped by the top 5 drivers there. But they have created a nice healthy gap to the other Aston Martin. Just running a bit wide there out of Alta is Mocky. So the gap's definitely starting to appear, but one gap that isn't there is the gap between reuse and inorganic. Just keeping an eye on the gaps further up the track. SMIT's chasing down Riker, and they're all very close together through sector 1. We'll flick back to that, but I reckon reuse might be looking to make a move here on inorganic in the battle for 13th. Still going to be scoring points. It's top 15 finishers that will be scoring points today. And here we go, reuse. Making a move up the inside, and Organic not fighting it too hard. Maybe that's because of the 10-second time penalty. Reuse leaving plenty of room on the track for inorganic. But a nice clean overtake by the McLaren driver. Sees reuse provisionally up to 30, but we're now flicked back to the race for the lead, as Nat's lead has now been cut to less than a second. So Matty is going to have the benefit of DRS, as we have a spinner at the back. I believe that's Goey. Yep, it is Goey, just waiting for a sensible point to return back to the circuit. We're flipped back now to Smiths, just so we can see all the racing ahead. Unfortunately, we don't get the best camera angles here at IMOLA. Smiths really chasing Riker down, but not quite close enough. Going into the first couple of corners. Out to Tamarello, into Villeneuve they go. Can't afford any mistakes through Villeneuve when you're running this close to one another. Be that a poor corner entry or staying on the gravel on exit. Now, interestingly enough, there was no safety cars last time out in First Division, and that was at Abu Dhabi. I wonder if we're going to see the same again. It would be brilliant in terms of the racing. As Goey picks up a 5-second time penalty, goes for the gamble first into the pits, and they've retired as well. Retiring, I believe, in the pits, so it shouldn't cause any incidents. As we see a couple of drivers now looking to potentially make moves. Do they want to go into the pits or not? None of the leading few want to go in just yet. They want to see if they can get ahead, as Eisler picks up the first 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We said this is going to be a factor in this race early on. It's a small circuit, tight circuit, when you can easily run the limits on a couple of corners. And Eisler doing just that, picking up a 3-second time penalty. We'll now flip back to Dino, who's chasing down Big Puggy. Big Puggy, no DRS. Moves over to the right-hand side of the track, opens up the inside for Dino. Should be a routine move for the Alfa Romeo, and it is exactly that. Dino carrying on their way up into 10th position. So as much as we want to see if Big Puggy's going to have a go back, we will just keep an eye on that on the timing screens on the left. However, we can't really take our eyes away from this action. We've got 4 different cars. We've got the Williams of Nats, currently our leader. That gap at the top has been going down. It's now only 0.6 of a second. And Matty is going to be hunting that down. I still don't know if they're going to be close enough to make an overtake, but Nats won't have any DRS to be within 1 second of the driver ahead to get the benefit of the drag reduction system. As we see Riker gambling. Riker goes in early, goes for the hard tyres. Now opens the gaps up a little bit, so it's now Matty chasing down Nats. SMIT being dropped just a little bit behind. Riker, interestingly, coming out all the way down in 11th. I'm not sure if they wanted to drop down that far, but they are going to be coming out a lovely empty bit of circuit, which could be crucial for Riker in the latter stages, but it's whether they can manage their tyre wear and keep those tyres going for what could be a further 20 laps, bar any safety cars, which might be a good opportunity for a cheap pit stop. Matty still sticking with our current race leader. How this currently plays out in the championship, it would promote SMIT to second in the standings, Matty into third. I'm not quite sure if the standings are quite accurate. In fact, I don't think that's working. I think some people might not have turned their telemetry settings on, as it's dropping Nat to fifth on the same points that they started on. So not sure about that. But either way, Nat is under pressure from Matty, but Matty's just not close enough into turn one. It seems to be a ongoing problem. Let's just have a little look at the ERS usage. Nat's on 40%, whereas Matty on 32%. So not much between the two drivers there, but SMIT is closing in on them from behind. Also around about the same ERS as well. Danos keeping a nice sensible race themselves. With all the racing going on ahead, there could easily be some contact. Anything could happen here at Imola, and Danos in a prime position to capitalise on that. A sensible race for them so far in fourth. Likewise for Jones. Nice gap on the circuit. Their teammate today, they're joined by Mocky. He's currently racing in sixth. A good place to be in at the moment. Same with Jay Leakey just behind, as we see Riker making a move on the Mighty Frex. Through Aqua Minerale goes the Red Bull. I can imagine that must feel a lot nicer on the fresher tyres. As we see SMIT now goes into the pits, pitting from third. Danos decides to join them. I wonder if Jones is going to. No, Jones is going to stay out. And it's going to be whatever they do. I'll do the opposite, but they've got a lot of time in hand to play with. That promotes Jones up to third at the moment. I wonder where SMIT is going to be returning. Will they be ahead of Riker? I expect Riker to be ahead, although they did have to get past the Mighty Frags, but oh, it's going to be very tight. Whereabouts are they? Riker is slotted in just behind all, but the cold tyres, and Riker's gone through. Unbelievable stuff. However, SMIT going to be on fresher tyres, only a couple of laps fresher, but they have got ERS. Quickly flick back to the battle for the race lead, as well as Matty's managed to get now within half a second of Nats. I wonder if that's going to push Nats into the pits, maybe force their hand. I think it's the one goes in, the other stays out. It's going to be both goes in. Oh, it's going to be contact into the pits. Nats picks up a 5-second time penalty, but I wonder, is that because Matty hit the back of the Williams driver? Either way, that might see both of them drop behind Riker and SMIT. Jones picks up a 5-second time penalty as well for speeding into pit line. I don't think they can blame anybody, as they were driving around on their own. That now puts Mocky as our current race leader, but we will ride with Riker and see where they appear. Unbelievable things. It defies commentating. It defies racing. These moments defy everything. It defies humanism. One small incident can change everything, and that's exactly what we just happened there with Matty running into the back of Nats. They've both still managed to get out ahead of Riker by quite some distance as well, so a massive undercut there. But yeah, so Nats might be getting away with that nonetheless. However, they're not going to be happy with having a 5-second time penalty, especially if there is a late safety car. They come into the pits, they change their tyres because they're going to be stuck there for 5 seconds. So unless they can create a gap, I don't think we're going to have a happy Nats in the chat potentially later. As you see the battles elsewhere now, as we have got drivers who have come out of the pits and drivers playing different strategies. Mocky, our current race leader, now heading into the pits, and followed by Jay Leakey and I think Big Puggy being on the hards. It's going to be our top hard runner, and now going to be our current race leader is Big Puggy. SMIT picks up the fastest lap. they chase down Riker, as they both chase down Nats and Matty as well. We'll see if Dino is able to get past Snell Henk, both on a fresh set of hard tyres. Just not close enough, only just. One driver who's gone very under the radar so far is Inorganic. I know that they are still to pit, but who knows, there could be a safety car. You don't exactly know with people passing some of the other drivers on the circuit, people who are chancing it, playing the long game on the hards, when people are just coming into pits. You never know exactly what could happen. So maybe preying on a safety car is on Inorganic and maybe even Big Puggy at this stage. I'm sure they'll love it. Well, we will focus on Big Puggy. We'll give them their moment in the sun, as they are currently our race leader. But whether they're coming into the pits this lap or not, no, they are staying out. They're going to lap up every moment of being our current leader of the race. And why not? They didn't qualify, started at the back of the pack, and they're currently the race leader. But they are being hunted down by the Williams of Nats, who has also pulled away 2.5 seconds to Matty already. But they'll be looking to pull away more than 5 seconds with that penalty that they definitely did not want. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure it'll be one that I will see more of in the stewards room, as we see Riker and SMIT going side by side. They're both off track limits. SMIT completely off the circuit into the gravel there. Some very tough defending from the Red Bull. I wonder if SMIT's going to have another go. They do not. We've got yellow flags. It's a Haas, I think that's Jay Leakey. That was had an incident there in Sector 1. As Nats is now within a second of our current race leader, which is Big Puggy. And Danos picks up a 3-second time penalty. You see Jones has got the 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pits. Let's just have a look at the penalties itself. So that's having a 5-second time penalty. Danos on 3 seconds now. Jones on 5. Jones, I'm sure, praying for a safety car. Gives them an opportunity to serve that. As Nats has got past Big Puggy. And SMIT also now ahead of Riker in the battle for currently 4th, but it will be provisional 3rd, given that Big Puggy will be heading into the pits at some point. As we're just over half race distance, just over halfway through the season. Does Matty have wing damage from hitting Nat? Well, we can't see any on the car. We're just having a look and see if we can pick up any information on the session data that we have access to. Unfortunately, he doesn't want to be playing ball to us, and I don't want to miss out too much on the action. So there is potential then that Matty might have some damage. I'm sure we'll be able to tell, as Matty was able to fend off SMIT previously, whereas SMIT right on the back of them already. Nats goes and sets the fastest lap of the race so far, and SMIT up the inside of turn 1. Matty can't fight it too hard, but SMIT does get on the curbs on the exit, which does provide an opportunity for Matty to come and have a go back at it, but I don't think they have got the pace, so maybe they have got some very light front wing damage, maybe. As you see Riker, our championship leader, clawing their way back and catching up to both Matty and SMIT. You see Inorganic and Spivey both heading into the pits for a fresh set of medium tyres. Just going to see if the medium runners are able to push for the fastest lap that Nats has just set. And Big Puggy does finally decide to go into the pits. We'll just quickly have a little look at the battle for ninth as Rodo and Dino. This is personal between the two of these, as they are still very close. Not much to separate the two drivers in the Drivers' Championship. I just wonder if Big Puggy is going to be able to overcut a lot of drivers here as they're making their way on the pit exit. I think Dino and Rodo are both going to get ahead. It's going to be very tight for Rodo. Does get ahead though of Big Puggy, but unfortunately for them, not ahead of Dino, and their gap only going up. Riker on the back of Matty. Matty having a bit of a moment just prior to Aqua Minerale there. Another moment coming out of Aqua Minerale, and that's going to open the door for Riker to have a go into the tight Ultra Chicane. There's contact between the two drivers. They just about both made it through there. It's well defended by Matty. Not going to give that up too easy. But we definitely saw the Haas having a moment through Piratella. Jones does not want a safety car, is what Mr. Backer is saying now. He's building gaps, so not looking to serve that 5-second time penalty, looking instead to build a gap which they have got to their teammates, but no gap forming at all between Riker and Matty. Riker flicks to the outside, Matty defends on the inside, the door is closed, and Riker's ahead. Riker now up into third, our championship leader, who has spent the majority of this race with that red light flashing from behind, but he is now up into the podium places, is Riker, and I do wonder whether Matty has got that front wing damage. It would be such a shame if that is the case, but they are already falling a little bit back, not able to stick to the gearbox of Riker. You definitely see them having a moment, having difficulties turning in on the fast speed corners. You'll see it again here through Aqua Minerale. It just doesn't seem to be sitting exactly how the Haas driver, I'm sure, would like at the moment, but they are still within DRS range, and they have taken Alta really nicely there to have a shot at Riker, but Riker gets a nice enough exit themselves. So with all of that, Big Puggy, as we mentioned, we're riding on board with Rodo. Big Puggy is now ahead of Rodo, and is on those medium tyres, currently in the top 10. So I wonder if Big Puggy is going to have a big part to play in this race. There's some gaps ahead, but might still be able to race hard, score some good points, and maybe even able to go for the fastest lap. It is currently held by our current race leader, which is Nats. They've got a 5-second time penalty, 3 seconds to the driver behind, but the gap slightly increasing as we go round. It's an unwanted 5-second time penalty caused there by Matty going into the pits. Well, so we think. Maybe Nats was also going a bit faster himself, so definitely one for the stewards room, not one for us to discuss too far. We'll leave it to the First Division stewards. For those who are new to RPM, each league has its own designated independent stewarding panel. So where the game itself might not pick up on particular incidents, our stewards definitely do. We encourage all drivers to record their gameplay, and if they do want to report a fellow driver, they can do so after inside of the first 24 hours. And we've got Callum has retired from the session. I think that was in the pits. It is indeed another driver in the pits retiring, so it's not going to cause a safety car, hopefully not cause any carnage on the track either. But we will ride back on board with Big Puggy, who might now be looking to make a move on Dino. Now everyone chose the medium tyres to begin with and change onto the hards. Big Puggy thought, I'm going to be different, and being different seems to work, as we have a slow moving car coming out of the pits, which only helps, I think, Big Puggy in case Dino was looking for a move around the outside. But Big Puggy now chasing down Mocky in the Aston Martin. That gap between Mocky and Jones now up to 10 seconds. But the gap falling between Danos and Matty. We did mention that we do think Matty might have damage. I wonder if Matty's going to go into the pits. They've got big gaps behind them. They might be able to go for the medium tyres and also go for the fastest lap and see if they can recover themselves after a repair of potential damage to their front wing. But Danos hunting them down. Is going to have ERS and DRS to their disposal. Matty hasn't got any ERS left. You can see that red light flashing, and you can see that red Ferrari catching. Getting closer. A late moving maybe on the inside side against it, but is it going to throw the line of Matty? It doesn't. Matty's very clever. Knows that it was a fake and carries on instead of just building that gap. So back to 0.7 of a second. As we do see Big Puggy going past Mocky into the run into turn 1. And the chase is on 10 seconds. 8 laps. I wonder if Big Puggy could catch Jones. Jones, who does have a 5-second time penalty. I wonder if Big Puggy's going to get within 5 seconds of the Aston Martin. I know that's not music to somebody is listening along with us today. Backer Jones's race engineer being one of them. We'll catch up with this battle for fourth. Danos on Matty. A great exit there from Danos. I thought the first of the Bravazzas that Danos took it really nicely. However, on the second Bravazza, Danos got a little bit too much curb, and whilst he was on the curb, saw Matty taking a bit of a wider line, did a smoother exit. I was able to get onto the bottom just that little bit earlier, and therefore able to open up that gap enough to fight another day ahead of the rampant Ferrari that we have here on the track. But rampant no more than Big Puggy at the moment. RPM Colin, wise words saying that Jones needs to build a further 3 seconds to the charging Alpha Tauri. Gap doesn't seem to have gone down too much more. I wonder if Big Puggy's somewhat conserving their medium tyres. We'll catch back on with Danos, who is hoping for some serendipity, a bit of luck, and they might get this from Matty having difficulties with what we presume is front wing damage after going into the back of Nats as they came into the pits, and they might be taking advantage. Big Puggy is braver than Colin on the mediums by the sounds of things there. They don't call him Big Puggy for nothing. And whilst we're catching up with that battle, we've got Dino and Mocky battling out for 8th. Go up closer into Paratella. Not much ERS to the disposal of Dino, but Mocky has got a little bit more. Packer saying he is full of confidence. Which driver, I think both Big Puggy and Jones are both full of confidence at the moment. Jones securing a lovely 4th position last time out. Big Puggy though making their way from the back of the pack up to 7th. Confidence for both drivers, and definitely a race on our hands. And here we are racing, it seems. Dino catching right onto the back of Mocky. onto the inside. Mookie's not going to fend it too hard, and Dino is ahead. Dino back up to 8th position. Mookie into 9th. And we'll flick back to Danos, who's right on the back of Matty. No way is he going to be thinking about a move into Aqua Minerale. Oh my god, I thought I've seen it all. I think we're going to see something else here. Coming out of Aqua Minerale. A good enough drive from Matty. Sees them live another day, but I thought we were going to see a move from the outside of Aqua Minerale, and that's a move we don't see every day. That would be definitely one for the highlight reel. But here we go again. Danos still just about teetering around at half a second behind the Haas. 4 more laps to go, so they're running out of time. Are they going to make the move this lap? Seems like Matty hasn't got any problems with straight line speed. It just seems to be round the corners. Just not close enough, although was that a little bit of a twitch there from Matty's car. It's only 0.3 the gap, but can Danos stay this close throughout the middle sector? We did see just how close they got out of Aqua Minerale. I wonder if they're looking to make a move even earlier this time. As we have got yellow flags in Sector 1. Now, who is that? It's not Jones, it's Mocky, who is on the gravel. I don't think we're going to see a safety car unless we have a dangerous rejoin to the circuit. And there is a dangerous rejoin to the circuit. Mocky has rejoined to the track, taking out Snail Henk. We've got yellow flags all sectors. I think the safety car's out. Unbelievably, with just 4 laps, the safety car has to be in. It has to give us 3 laps of racing. It's worth remembering that on F1 2022. But oh my god, it's changed everything. Nats has got to go into the pits as she's got a 5-second time penalty. Although, did she need to go into the pits? You could have had that rescinded with the stewards. Instead, heads into the pits. And I think Riker is going to make the sensible option here. On the hard tyres, we're going to have a 1-lap shootout. It might even be more. As I said, we need to have 3 racing laps. So I believe the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. That's now clear of the penalty, directly behind SMIT. This does give an opportunity for Matty, who we did thought had front wing damage. They do get a changed front wing. So Matty did have damage. That is what's crucial. But they're all going on to softs, except from the Brave, which is Dino and Riker. Unbelievable. Who would have thought it would come down to a late safety car? All the people on penalties not going to be happy with this. One of which being RPM Jones, who is still going to be in 7th, so I don't think they've lost out anything, if not much at all, through that situation. But it is on to softs, and who knows, they might be able to catch a potentially struggling Dino and Riker, but it's whether they can catch up to the front or the back, because Riker's hoping this safety car speeds up a little bit, because he's liking the gaps that he can see behind him at the moment. But that gap is coming down, and there it is. Smith and Nats have caught right to the back. So I thought it was a bit of a brave call from Nats, getting removed the 5-second time penalty. But here they are, on fresh set of soft tyres. If you are liking what you're seeing here, make sure you are liking, following and subscribing on all of the social medias at RPM Esports F1. And if you really fancy giving us a sponsorship, whether you want to sponsor the overall league, or if you're just looking to sponsor the one-off race, or whatever it may be, do get in touch with us. Message us on any of the social medias. One of our admin team here will be able to pick that up and further your inquiry, as we'd love to be telling you that this race has been bought by your company, brought to you, this spectacle brought to you by insert your company right here. And a spectacle is exactly what we are in for. We have got our championship leader, Riker, taking the gamble on the hard tyres. They had to gamble based on where they were. They went for the early pit stop. They took the gamble, as the pit strategy didn't quite work for them. They did lose a gap to Smith and Nat, who both pulled away. So now doing another gamble. saw both SMIT and Nats go into the pits of the softs, decided to stay out. I said I want track position. So they're on the hards. And they are our leader. What you don't want to be doing, though, is picking up 3-second time penalties under a safety car. And that's exactly what Reuse has just picked up. We will quickly flick to the penalties. We've got 3 seconds to Danos, 3 seconds to Matty. Jones has also picked up a 3 seconds. And Big Puggy is the driver behind them. Big Puggy having a phenomenal race, that being said, with no penalties as well. Brilliant driving from the AlphaTauri. I'm sure is up there for a vote of driver of the day. Mocky has 11 seconds of penalties, but that's obliterated itself by the 16 seconds from Reuse. Isra also on 6 seconds. The safety car is going to be in. I wonder if Ricker's how Ricker's going to play this. They do want the heat into their tyres, but I'm sure they're going to leave it late and not give an opportunity for SMIT or Nats behind. As the drivers making their way around the final corner. When's he thinking of going? It's late, but the drivers are all very close to one another, and he goes now. Nats and Riker right side by side at one point there, but they seem to be, sorry, that's Nats and SMIT that were side by side. They're going to be side by side again, potentially. Nope, decide against it. SMIT holding on to second. Dino holding on to fourth at the moment. We've got battles going on behind as Matty racing with Jones and Danos. And Matty getting ahead of Danos. Danos side by side, and Matty is ahead. We've got yellow flags in sector 1. So there could be Reuse as Jones takes a bit of an adventurous line. He drives the circuit but does lose out to Big Puggy. Is now under massive pressure from RT Rodo. And we have just lost a driver. It was F1 Dino. Dino's gone across the circuit. Just saw that at the corner of the screen there. Dino going across the circuit a bit too early on the throttle, coming out of Aqua Minerale. And that's Dino dropping down to 15th position. Jay Leakey getting ahead of Inorganic on the mediums in Inorganic and in 10th position. But Riker leads us away from SMIT, from Nats, and how late can you be on the brakes? SMIT thinking about going around the outside. Riker shows them the door. Nats sticking with this. And, oh, it's getting ever so tight. The problem being that these soft drivers, they can brake so much later. However, Riker's still got that straight line speed. Rodo picks up a 3-second time penalty. Now's not the time to do that. But that's going to be music to Jones's ears, who's stuck with the Alpine driver. Unbelievable on the last lap here. And Riker, our championship leader, is still winning this race. There's contact there by Nats, but it looks as if Riker's slowing everyone down through Aqua Minerale, and the two soft runners don't like it at all. As Nats under pressure from Danos. Danos makes a lunge. Danos makes the move stick. I wonder if Nats can go and regain that around the outside. I think they can. But Big Puggy's fancying a part of this. And they've got the inside line. There's contact into Nats. They're side by side. I think Nats gets ahead. There's contact, and oh, Danos has turned. Big Puggy, unbelievably, on the final corner. SMIT crosses the line and took Ricker. Nats comes home in third. Rodo in fourth. Inorganic in fifth. Sixth was Jones. Mighty Frax seventh. Spivey in eighth. Danos, unfortunately for them, down into ninth with Big Puggy in 10th. Isru in 11th. Mocky in 12th. Matty down into 13th. So much happens in such a little amount of time. We could have had 17 commentators for all 17 drivers. I think we had 19 drivers. We could have had 19 commentators for 19 drivers, and even still, we wouldn't have been able to call everything that happened on that last lap. Unbelievable. But one driver who did deserve that was SMIT. They qualified fastest. They won the race, and they won it in the final sector, the final couple of corners. Look at the gap across the line, just 0.2. A valiant effort from Riker, who was always on a different strategy. Very bold from them, and sees them secure some good points. And that's in third position, gets another podium, but also gets the bonus point for the fastest lap. Rodo comes home in fourth. Fifth was Inorganic. Sixth, Jones. Seventh, the Mighty Frax. Eighth, Spivey. Ninth, Danos. 10th, Big Puggy. 11th, Vajra. 12th, Mocky. 13th, Dino. 14th, Matty. Unfortunate for them, they didn't have the best of race. Got caught up in quite a few incidents and had damage throughout. Jay Leakey in 15th. 16th was Reuse. Snellhenk, Callum and Goey all did not finish out there. I still don't think this is going to be the last we hear of this race, though. I think it's going to go to the stewards' decisions. I think there's a lot of incidents that may be reported. I do not envy the First Division stewards, but they will no doubt be... no doubt will be some changes to that finishing order. But nonetheless, it has been an absolute joy of mine to be bringing you First Division commentary again. Join us tomorrow, same time, and Thursday again for your week of RPM action here in round 8 in Imola. Once again, it's me, the Entity. Enjoy your week, watch all of the RPM content, and we will catch you all later. Take care.